We believe nonverbal cues more than we believe verbal cues, because the body generally doesn't lie. It's the easiest thing for us to lie with our words, but not our bodies. Think about the time you blushed, you know, and you really were at a business meeting or something, you just didn't want to, and there the blood rushed to your face anyway. So, and human beings tend to, we remember a visual impression longer than we remember an auditory, something that comes in through the ears, so we retain it longer. If you think about it, also verbal cues are intermittent, while nonverbal behavior is happening all of the time, right? You probably, I was thinking, you know, have you ever said to your friend, "How are you?" and they say, "Fine," and you say, "Really?" You're picking something up, and I bet 8 or 9 times out of 10 you're right. That there's something, you're feeling some discongruity between their words and some part of their body language that would prompt you to say, "Really?" So, and I also think that in our culture, we put a great deal of emphasis on verbal communication. And if we only listen to the words, we're going to miss a whole lot, as you've said, of what's being communicated. In fact, I believe it's Edward Hall, who is sort of one of the founding fathers of the study of body language and distance and space, that 60% of all human communication takes place non-verbally. 60%. Seems like more than we would think, right? And then, are you familiar with Daniel Goleman? He wrote a book called Emotional Intelligence. He says that 90% of what we experience emotionally is transmitted non-verbally. 90%. That's a lot. That's a lot to miss if we're not tuning into what other ways we're communicating besides our words. Just one sort of word of caution as we talk about body language. In the 1970s, a man named Julius Fast wrote a book called Body Language. In fact, I think I have it to show you. You can sort of even tell by the, I think it's Bantam or Pocketbook. He really popularized body language. And even though he didn't say this, people sort of took this information to mean that they could like figure people out really easily and know their motivations by looking at their body language. It's important to remember that body language in and of itself is something to raise questions, something to alert you to communication. Do not make firm conclusions about somebody's personality or mood, etc., because of body language. Generally, body language that comes in clusters, groups of body language, are more predictive than single incidents of body language. There needs to be consistency between all of what someone is expressing in their words, in their body, in their gestures, etc. So don't draw firm conclusions from this, but it will give you some questions and ideas beyond the words that you will be holding in your experience of communication with someone. The study of this personal space is called proxemics. P-R-O-X, you probably get it better if I say it than write it. P-R-O-X-E-M-I-C-S. Why don't I do both? This is a field of scientific study that was initiated, or named anyway, by Edward Hall. And it is the study of the physical space that people require. So, volunteer. Marion, will you help me out with this? My handy dandy tape measure. Okay, we're going to talk about 3 different kinds of space. 4 actually. Intimate, personal, social, and public. And within each of these, there's going to be a close and a far. Okay? So is it okay if I touch you?
Sure.
If Marion and I can actually touch, we're close enough to touch. That's close, intimate space. And right, if you're talking to someone that you really, and this, I'm assuming that this is Western, it's written by someone from the Western culture. We're touching, we're pretty close, we're comfortable with each other, maybe she's my sister. So when we actually want to make contact, close, intimate space.
For more information about the National Institute of Whole Health and their accredited professional continuing educational programs, go to www.wholepersonhealthcare.org or call 1-888-354-HEAL.